Hello, and welcome back to the ministry. And today we're talking about what do you want to be remembered for? A lot of us are walking with God, and God has a desired end for where we are, what we're doing, how we're doing it. He has a desire for us to reach a goal. Sometimes we don't know what that is, but if we are pursuing God, we eventually are going to end up pursuing our purpose, because you can't pursue God and remain stagnant where you are. And He's not going to let you just meander in an area that you're not supposed to be in. You will feel it and you will know you're not supposed to be there, whether it's a job, whatever it is. He won't allow you to just stay where you feel comfortable because it's comfortable to you. So the question is, what do you want to be remembered for? Society is always going to push you to remain still stagnant and where you are, as opposed to where God wants you to be. You may desire, I'm good with a 9 to 5 job as long as I'm taking care of my bills and could do something creative on the side as a side hustle. I'm good. But God's saying, but what if you could have more? And I was listening to one of the young women, and I've even said this before, uh, go big or go home. Pray big prayers. I always remember hearing this statement. I've heard my pastor say it. I've heard Steve Harvey say it. I've heard a lot of people say this. That, do you want to get to heaven and have an angel lead you to your storehouse and find out, because you were only willing to go where you felt comfortable? It was only comfortable for you to get the job, do the 9 to 5, maybe work on a side hustle from your computer at home, because that was comfortable for you. But you get to your storehouse and God was like, yeah, that would have been good. But what if you could have done that in a mansion? What if you could have done that and had your own corporate business? What if you had your own land, that you had your mansion and another contemporary home that you made into an office space on the same property, that you could have been working out of there while still having your own home, being able to travel all across the world to do what you love to do, be bi-coastal, be all of these things, and be able to not only fund the kingdom, but to go and help others, other ministries, other people. I never forget, I was watching, he's a comedian, and his name is escaping me right now, but he's a completely Christian comedian. And if I was to give a comparison, he's like the Dave Chappelle of Christian comedy, meaning where Dave Chappelle curses all the time, this guy speaks the word of God all the time. And he did this comedy special, and um in this comedy special, they had the ability that two things happened during that special. One, he wanted to help this family. The family had no idea what he was doing. They told the family the lie that they were coming to, everybody was going to come to their house and they were going to watch this show, which was going to be this show about home renovations or something like that. And everybody was prepared because these people were supposed to be like a spot on this home renovation show, um, thinking that their house was going to get renovated. But the guy actually ended up, he was using that as a decoy to get everybody there and to have the excuse for everybody to be at these people's houses, because he wanted to give them a brand new van for what it was that they did. And these people were brought to tears because they needed that van because they had lost a vehicle due to something, and it was hard for them to help the people that they needed to help because of some financial constraints. They were giving them people the car for free, no payments, no nothing. It was freely theirs, and they were going to be able to do whatever they needed to. And I don't know whether they did something with actual housing repairs on their house, but they really blessed these people. And towards the end of the same show, what they ended up doing was they turned around and there was this young woman. They would go into the audience and ask them questions about what were their needs and what were they dealing with at the time. And there was this one woman who was in one side of the audience she was in need of a brand new job. She worked in this particular, had been working in this particular area, no longer was working at that location. And the person that they had asked previously, who was on the opposite side, she raised her hand and say, I work in that industry and we need somebody like that. Here's my card. Here's your give me your information and we'll call you on Monday. And he was like, see, this is what connection does. This is what connection does. This person would never have met this person had it not been for this moment right here. They also had a homeless person that they were helping that lived out on the street with a cart, and they did something. I can't remember exactly what they did for the person. I don't know whether they were trying to get them off the street or were trying to assist them with whatever they were trying to do. But I know that they went with them throughout there to see what a daily experience for this particular person was. And I know that they assisted the person in some way to whatever degree that the person would allot them to assist them, but I can't remember exactly what they did. But I do know that they went with them on a ride along through what they did on a daily basis with their cart on a day. Who does that? Most people wouldn't even see what a homeless person goes through on a day-to-day basis. Most people wouldn't care to know what a homeless person goes through on a day-to-day basis. But what do you do when you have the opportunity to make a difference in people's lives? What do you want to be remembered for? Seriously. What do you want to be remembered for? Do you want to be remembered for becoming famous? Writing the best songs? Doing the best dances? Having the best acting? Or would you rather be remembered for the impact you made? Now, as children of God, we know that we do not go out to make it public our deeds. It's not about making it public. our deeds. It's about being able to do it. Because it's the things that we do that isn't televised. This man's comedy show, the one that I'm talking about that I saw, you never see it on Comedy Central. He aired that on YouTube for free. All the money came out of his own pocket to make sure that that was produced. Because he wanted to do that, and he did it on the day of his mother's birthday. And it was funny because he called his mother before, and we got to see the phone call just before he walked out on the stage, because he called her and they brought the phone to him. I don't know whether she didn't answer the first time, but she called just before he walked out on stage, and he got to say something to his mother before he walked out on stage to do his comedy skit. What do you want to be remembered for? Do you want to be remembered for being the comedian, being the actor, singer, the musician? Or do you want to be remembered for how much you gave, how much you did? I think about a lot of times about Habitat for Humanity and tiny homes, and one of my favoriteest things to look at on Instagram, besides quotes and ministry stuff, is tiny houses. I love how they elaborately design these very small homes, and I always think to myself, man, a person with a right amount could create something to help people. It doesn't have to be a big thing. A lot of people are dialing down, and a lot of people are dialing down because of governmental inflations. But what if you could do something for somebody that was in need? I remember years ago, I saw a video. It was of a homeless man. He was on the street, and in 100 days, they got him off the street they put him in a vehicle that housed him until they were able to complete a small space that would get him out of the rain, snow, and whatever type of thing. They managed to get him an address, got his social security and all of his information and paperwork taken care of. They were able to get him all of his benefits, and in 100 days he went from being homeless on the street to having a place to stay. I look at the news sometimes, the other day, and especially because this is the thing that irks my nerves. I'm debating as to whether to say this or not because of the fact that we're in such a political climate. But I'm going to say this. They talk about the homeless crisis, state by state, so on and so forth. How they can't do stuff for certain people because listings, longevity, all this types of stuff. This is so far backed up, and so on and so forth. What if you had the ability that the biggest impact that you could ever make is that you could clear out some of those bigger problems? Get with legislation and make sure these things are taken care of, so that the states you live in and the states that you're called to be in no longer have issues like this. They can no longer use that as an excuse. We don't have enough of this. What impact are you making? What has impacted your life? What can you do to impact somebody else's life? How can you give to somebody else? I find myself frequently thinking about those people that I gave all of my clothes to that day, that I wanted to give them away to the Salvation Army, and ended up giving them away to 5 people that needed clothes. Able to give away $100, broken down to 5 people, $20 a piece. That, and I wasn't even going to go back, but I forgot something, and when I walked back, the main person was like, you let her get whatever it is that she needs, and thank you so very much for what you have done. And the young woman, I'll never forget her saying, I can go take a shower and change my clothes. What are you going to be remembered for? Is it about making it to the television? Is it about all of the things that you do publicly? Is it all about the shows and the music and creating the music videos and the content and all of that, just because you are that visionary and you see it and you know that you would love to make it? Or is it about the people's lives that you touch in the balance? Not so much because you've got to go all the way over to Haiti, or all the way over to Africa, or all the way over to Zimbabwe, or wherever it is, just to be that person that goes to the impoverished parts of the nation to have help the children that are impoverished. There's impoverishedness, and there's always going to be impoverishedness. And the fact of the matter is, I don't want to get political because it's so hard to touch these topics and not slip into politics, because of the fact that when you have the eyes to see, you recognize what's going on. All I'm going to say is they show you what they want you to see on TV. They don't show you what actually is. They create a narrative. I've studied media and journalism. I know about creating a story. Okay? But understand what's more important, what you do in public or what you do in private. For what you do in private, you will be made famous for in public anyway. What do you want that thing to be? I remember years ago they talked about when Prince died, all of the philanthropy that he had done that most people had no idea about because he wasn't out there. Hey, look at me. I'm Prince. Let me. He was using his money and putting it in places. And yeah, he was only recognized for it after he passed away. But it wasn't about being recognized for it. It was about the impact it made to the people that it touched. What are you being remembered for? I remember sitting the other day listening to NDIRE talk about how the music industry works, and how, for as much as there is a level of recognition during certain seasons and years, they did not push, promote, or speak about certain individuals publicly, you would get the televised part of the show and the untelevised part of the show. And a lot of Black people were getting their awards in the untelevised part of the show. How desperately do you want a platform that you'd want to be in a place that doesn't even want to acknowledge publicly that you're there? That's why you have to be okay with understanding what your desire is to do, and it can't be being on the front line, being in front of the camera, being publicly recognized like that. Because sometimes the blessing is just being able to say, yeah, I was there. Just because you didn't get on camera, you can't be upset about that. Because the public recognition was in that room. It wasn't so much about the fact that the camera projected it to everybody else outside of it. So how many opportunities are you going to pass up because of the fact that you didn't get that public recognition that was worldwide? Because maybe the worldwide recognition is something that you do by traveling the world wide. What are you going to be remembered for? If they roll back your life at the end of your life, do you want it to be remembered for the fact that you worked that 9-to-5 job, worked your fingers to the bone? Yeah, you took care of your family. But what other impact did your life have? It's like the man who gave away 10 talents. He gave this person 1, he gave this person 2, he gave that person 5, he gave this person 3. The person that had 5 doubled it to 10. The person that had 3 doubled it to, or made it 5 or something like that. The person that had 2 made it 4 and all of that, but the person that had 1 just buried it. What do you have that you are burying because you don't have what you think you need in order to be able to make an impact in this world? Because it's too hard, because of the pressure. There are times that I think about a lot of things where I'll sit there and I'll say to myself, what impact could I make or have made up until this point? Is it the fact that I wasn't willing enough to do what needed to be done to get the result that I wanted to get? Or is it the fact that I just wasn't in the time frame and had not reached that point in which the Lord wanted to use me yet? Because I feel like I've been that person that the Lord has had on the back burner for a while, and the Lord's saying, I'm going to use you. Not yet. I'm going to use you. Not yet. I'm going to use you. Not yet. I know you want to do it, but wait a minute. I know you want to do it, but wait a minute. I know you want to do it, but wait a minute. And over time, that can become depressing. And over time, you can feel slightly oppressed. And sometimes you're trying to figure out, am I dealing with demonic delay or God just having me in a holding pattern? As you watch the years go by, you find yourself asking yourself this question: what impact am I going to make in my life because of the fact that you see the years going by and you're saying to yourself, what impact am I going to make? Because sometimes it feels like you're fighting tooth and nail just to get there, and you ain't got there yet. And everything looks like it's never going to come together. But God's telling you it is. Just wait a minute. And it becomes tiring. But for the deeds I see that you have done, but wait and see what I will do. I know you want to, and I know you're preparing for it. Just wait a little bit longer, and I'm going to open that door. When I open that door, you better run. But sometimes God does it for our own good. Sometimes we feel like we got to run, we got to race, we got to rip, we got to do all of this kinds of stuff. And God's saying, I just need you to learn how to slow down, because it's not going to be like that. Slow down. Sometimes the Lord wants to send you help, but sometimes you feel like you've taken so long to get where you're trying to go that you feel like you got to do everything A, B, C, D, and God's trying to tell you, I'm a send you the help that's going to help take care of A, B, C, and D. I keep referring back to the dream that I had, that God sent in a bunch of people that were supposed to come in and help me. And every time I tried to touch something, that they would push my hands away. No. I don't want your hands on this. But being that type of person, for as many years as I've been working on things for God, working on things for myself, working on things, when you don't have the time or the ability to do the thing that you want to do, you feel restless if your hands ain't in it or in something. Idle hands are the devil's playground, is how the saying goes. But it says in Numbers 11 and 17 that I will bring people to help carry the anointing that is on you, that it will be spread from you to these people, and you will not have to carry that burden by yourself. There are many things we desire to do, but even to help the people we are desiring to help, we cannot carry this burden alone. The travel, the transformation, the business, the things in which we desire to do. And it's a lot of things. And I was listening to a book by Patricia Bright, who's also a Christian. I came to find out while listening to her book. She was talking about how she was out here doing the things. And she was doing so much that even her team was feeling neglected because she was not present. I remember I started a group recently. It was about last year, and it was the group of people that enjoyed my testimony, and we came together and we were talking, and I enjoyed that group. But the fact of the matter, because it was only me that was able to manage it, we ended up, it's not that the group isn't still there, the group's still there, but I, as the leader of the group, kind of fell off, not because I wanted to fall off, but because of the fact that it was only me. When you're the only one managing all of the things, building the things, creating the things, doing the things, you can't do it all yourself. And sometimes the Lord is trying to show you, the reason I have been telling you to wait is because the weight of what it is that you're trying to do, if I let you loose in that, you wouldn't be able to carry it by yourself. And I haven't brought in yet the people that are supposed to help you carry it. so that you can create that lifestyle that you desire and be able to make that impact in the areas in which you desire to make an impact. It's not about being famous. It isn't even about what I create. It's about, did I make an impact? If I never made it any farther than this YouTube channel, but this YouTube channel blew up to 2-3 million people, that the words that came out of my mouth blessed people so much that there were so many comments beyond this channel that everybody was saying what I got in that one comment that day. That I don't know how I found your channel, but everything that you said blessed me. That I have made an impact, because you got to realize that the impact isn't about the fame. It's about how you impact. What are you going to be remembered for? If you never make it to a major stage and this is all you got, what you going to be remembered for? There are people whose lives that I've touched during the time frame that I was in New York, that they came back to me. Even when I was in my old church, when I was here in Baltimore before, they came back to me. They would watch me and they were saying things about me that other people had to bring me their testimonies because they never came to me and said anything. The fact that you walked to church 45 minutes back and forth every single day that the church was open. The fact that you walked to school, there were people that had cars on vehicles and you would walk to school and got here before everybody else. The fact that you did this, the fact that you did that, the fact that you got up and gave your seat to an older woman when the church was full that night. What are you going to be remembered for? Is it more important to be remembered for a plateau and a platform, or is it more important for the impact that your life made on somebody else? What are you going to be remembered for? You hear about those old women or men that it wasn't the fact that they had a grandiose experience in life. It was the fact that they were remembered and the church was full when they passed away because of the impact of the day-to-day things that they did. Whether they made it to the high echelon or they just made it to be that neighborhood person. What's the impact? How will you be remembered? Be remembered for something of importance. This is Taj McCameron for Love, Faith, Peace, and Blessings Ministries. Until next time, bye-bye.